In a world as dreary as Valsithia, where the populace is abused and downtrodden, it's only natural that the most charismatic man in the entire world is going to steal a few hearts. Cid is the only character with an enthusiasm about him. It's not that the rest of the main cast are boring or bland, they're just so serious all the time, brimming with angst and rage. So when a light-hearted character shows up, that's who the audience will gravitate towards. We can draw a similarity between Final Fantasy XVI's primary inspiration, Game of Thrones, where the entire cast is also deadly serious about all matters. It's the charismatic Tyrion Lannister that draws the most eyeballs due to his sharp wit standing out as more of a human character than any of the other cast. Cid's role as a freedom fighter also makes him an incredibly likable character, as no matter what political affiliation you fall under, everyone hates authoritarian figures, making his cause one everyone can get behind. Cid also plays a key role as one of the Dominants, and while the rest of the Dominants take pride in their icons, calling them into battle whenever the need arises, Cid is resistant to summoning Ramuh, only doing so when the situation is absolutely necessary. This could be due to a feeling of shame surrounding his powers, but that doesn't add up to me, as Cid is an activist for dominants and bearers to be treated as human, so logically, shouldn't this translate to a pride in his heritage, causing him to make frequent use of his icon? But that would be a misunderstanding of Cid's ideology and reasoning for becoming a freedom fighter. Cid sees bearers, dominants, and non-magic users as equals, not superiors. Many activists in the real world have the issue of not demanding equality, but greater rights. This makes their noble and kind cause look unreasonable and worth mocking, hurting the message of equality. This leads to losers making clickbait videos, bashing on them and spreading lies about how wokeness is taking over. Cid makes sure to focus on equal rights, and this is why he hides his dominant powers. He's not looking for superiority over non-bearers, he wants to be like them, so that's why he's hesitant to summon Ramuh. This is also shown in the method he goes about achieving his equality. Destroying the Mother Crystals doesn't change the leaders of the world or the thoughts of the masses to make prejudice against bearers go away. It's just to remove the purpose of bearers from the world. He's not installing new leaders that will give bearers rights and compensation that put them above the regular citizens of the world. He's simply evening the playing field between the two sides. Another thing to love about Cid is how he breaks away from character tropes. Usually resistance leaders and meteors who were wronged by authority are deeply serious. They're a walking embodiment of all the harm a government with too much power can accomplish. While Cid is charming, friendly, and kind, not the traits you'd associate with underground leadership. I suppose this is how Square conveys to us who the good guys are in the story. Early on, every character has a darkness to them, making everyone either pitch black or at least grey, making it hard to know who to root for and what Clive should do. So by introducing a chaotic good character, we have the white side that we always root for. Maybe that's not the best phrasing for this game about slavery. His intrinsic likability is what sells the idea of his influential syndicate of allies across Valsithia, building his army through trust rather than loyalty, and sharing a common goal, thereby making them stronger and more appealing to the player. But it's Cid's relationship with the player and Clive that really pushes him over the edge to be Final Fantasy XVI's most lovable character. As I said, Final Fantasy XVI has a dark opening in which the horrors of the world are put on full display. You experience firsthand the torment of being a bearer. Clive has no real allies at this time. Even though we don't care about the character quite yet, you feel horrible for him and his situation. So when Cid is introduced as a genuine ally, he brings a warmth into Clive's life he hasn't had in years. For the player, he's the first reprieve from a deathly severe narrative, and he's a reminder of Final Fantasy's earlier days when they didn't take themselves so seriously. By being the first character we latch onto, both protagonist and player form an intrinsic connection with Cid. He's the driving force behind the beginning of the narrative, so the plot is guided by his words and orders, and due to his heart of gold, the player is okay with following his orders. He's the epitome of a likable character in a game where everyone else is trying to be a morally grey anti-hero. It's like putting Nathan Drake into The Last of Us, if that makes more sense. But it's not like he doesn't fit in the world because of his great significance to the plot. And of course, we have to mention his commanding voice actor, Ralph Ensign, whose distinct low vocals give him an aura of gravitas, which is contrasted by his happy demeanor. It just makes him a more attractive character for the player to get attached to. There have been plenty of great Cids throughout Final Fantasy's storied history. Still, it's FF16's iteration that really stands out as a supporting character, thanks to his noble and passionate yet grounded goals, a personality type that stands out from the rest of the cast as a sunny, prince-like figure compared to the HBO show everyone else is acting in, kindness towards the player, and the first breather from Final Fantasy XVI's oppressive tone, and of course, his luscious caramel voice. I certainly hope that in the future, Final Fantasy can return to a place where it doesn't take itself so seriously, and characters like Cid don't have to be unique.